Everybody, welcome to Whip It Good with Jimmy Hack. We've got a great guest today. Great guy, great player. And if you played any golf or you followed the PGA Tour in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s, you know of Jay Delsing. Tall, striking figure, long hitter. So he's been gracious enough to join me. It's I've gotten to know Jay over the last couple of years. We've been on his radio show, and that's been awesome. He's on ESPN radio all over the U.S. And we've got I've been on his podcast, and he's because of his experience with golf, life, travel. He's got some great stories. He's got some stories you have trouble believing. They're so awesome. But I've been fortunate to spend some time and hear a few of those stories. And he actually even wrote a really cool book, and it's a wonderful read. I read it on a plane flight, and I've read it again because it's so interesting. But you wouldn't believe it. You wouldn't believe me if I told you. And Jay, tell us a little bit about just your. Let's just start from the basics, like your golf life, where it began, and what just led you to where you are today.
Well, Hack, thanks so much for having me on. Love getting to hang out with you, and obviously love the orange whip. Been using it for years. It's a staple in my bag. But yeah, you know what? I grew up in a sports family. I'm the fourth of five kids. My dad played professional baseball. He's from Wisconsin. Grew up on a dairy farm, and we he wound up. Breaking into the big leagues for the New York Yankees. They won the World Series in 1949, and he spent about a year and a half in New York, and then they got traded to St. Louis, played for the St. Louis Browns, where he stayed. He married my mom, and they wound up loving St. Louis. Then Dad then got traded to Detroit, where he had probably his most productive years in MLB. One of my older sisters was born in Detroit, and so we're just a sports family. And I'm a junkie. I love all sports. I'm a baseball fan, but man, I fell in love with golf. Gosh, probably when I was about 13 or 14, 13, I started caddying. I had seen my dad play some golf, and I just wanted to be a professional athlete. It's something. And baseball was too hard to organize all the kids. I was a good ball player, but it was too hard to figure out practices. And
Oh
this
yeah.
golf thing was I could do it all by myself. And I was one of those weird kids, Jim, like kind of one of those weird adults still that I don't mind being by myself, you know? And so I would go out and caddy in the morning and then go play 36 holes at night and then go to bed and get up and do it all over again. And the game kind of bit me early on, Jim, and it hasn't let go. And I'm probably the luckiest guy you're ever going to have on your show because of it. It's the greatest game of all. It's taken such great care of me. It's an honor to be able to play it. I finished this book, and we just recant some stories about, what am I doing in some of these different situations. It's like when you were a kid, I can remember these books, where you'd look at certain situations and you'd have to tell your teacher or your parents, like, which one of these things doesn't belong? You get like a couch and a chair and an ottoman, and then you have like a zebra, Well, Jimmy, I'm the zebra in all those stories, because playing golf with presidents of the United States, with Sean Connery, who was James Bond back in 1979, and just things like that. So the game has been it's an incredibly giving game anyway, Jim. You know that, and it raises so much money for those in need, and it puts on great championships, and turns out uh, raising money for children's hospitals. Like the great Arnold Palmer had his name on four children's hospitals. I think Jack and Barbara Nicholas have raised over $300 million with Play Yellow since 2004. And I mean, what other sports and their ambassadors do that kind of thing? So
Oh.
it's been awesome to me. I could go on and on, but
Well,
it's
what's great about that too. We're pretty parallel in our lives. Where I started the game at about 13. I was number eight of nine kids from North Dakota, so I'm another Midwesterner like you.
yeah,
And from your book, I don't recall the name of the course you played, but it was nothing to write home.
it's forgettable.
Yeah.
It's forgettable. You did the right thing.
What was interesting is that it, not to the level of me making it to the PGA Tour, but the game of golf, which I had no beginnings in it other than neighbor kids bringing me out, and I had the opportunity to then fall in love with it. And like you, I quit baseball because it was taking up too much time and the scheduling. Golf, I could do by myself. I could do it with my buddies. I could do it in tournaments. I could do it anytime I wanted. I had a field behind my house where they played soccer and football. That was my personal driving range when I was growing up. And I just fell in love with it, and it took over all my thoughts. So it's been a
Same thing, Jim. There's that one shot, I can remember hitting a shot going, oh my gosh, I got to do that again.
yeah.
And it probably took me 3 weeks to do it again that very first time. I'm like, oh, almost, but there's that feel is just indescribable. It's so addicting, it's like, oh my gosh, how did I do that? And I want to do that again.
Hey, you know what? I got a couple things here I want to show you. I want to know which of these golf balls back in this, when you were playing as a teenager, is that late 70s, early 80s?
Yeah, yeah, yep, mid 70s, yep.
So I got a few balls here. I want to know if you played any of these when you're coming up. I've
Well,
got
I'll gonna tell you right now, I played whatever I could find. Oh, is that
a cushion it
a cushion?
club special.
Club special. Oh, hell yeah. Oh yeah. Jimmy, look at those dimples. Is that
Oh
crazy?
no. Oh yeah.
Dimples are, oh my
And
God.
they kind of all had that pattern. I had the pro staff here.
Oh yeah. Where'd you get these balls?
I got lucky over the years. I've collected them and found them, and even through eBay, I've found a lot of these. I got here a Dunlop Max
The
Fly.
Blue Max. Oh yeah. Love that ball. That ball didn't fly where the hoop, but I loved it because it was the Blue Max.
It
Oh yeah.
was the coolest looking ball.
Oh, wasn't it? Yeah.
And then you got your original Top Flight.
Oh yeah, the rock flight. Remember we used to, before the one ball rule would come into play, Jimmy, we'd take that or a Molitar and tee it up on the par threes so that we instead of having to hit a 3 iron, we could hit a 5 iron, and then as soon as we got it on the green, we'd swap it out for a Titleist because it felt so much softer. But it's funny that you brought up those golf balls because I was out playing sometime last fall and I found a 384. A
Really?
Titleist
Yeah.
384. Now we're talking about the 80s,
Oh yeah.
early 80s. Couldn't believe it. I looked at it and I'm like, what is wrong with this ball? It looked, and I thought, holy cow. So I took it into the golf shop, and not one of our pros had ever even heard of that, Jim.
Nope.
They had never even heard of the 384. They never hit it because they were so young.
Wow.
I know.
That's
I felt like an old geezer for sure.
that's cool about our ages is that we've watched the evolution of golf. The balls change, the clubs. Like I got here an old McGregor
Oh, is that an Iomatic?
Iomatic tourney. Look at that
Best,
beauty.
the best. Oh my gosh, look at the screws. Now, Jim, that's where hitting it on the screws came from.
You're
That's
exactly
when
right.
someone said, "How'd you hit that?" You're like, "Man, I hit it right on the screws." That's because old drivers used to have screws in them.
Oh, I don't have a current driver with me, but this is half the size or maybe less.
Oh my gosh, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And I swear, some of those McGregors that I had, Jim, at the time, they had no sweet spot. Man, I'd look all over. I'd play for a week at a time and not hit that thing right where the solid part of that wood was. Oh man.
Hey, I got
Love
another
this memory lane. I love this.
I got another flashback for you. Do you recall this?
Gotta be a mana. You got an Amanda hat. Oh my gosh. You know, Gene Littler and Lou Graham used to wear those all the time, and I got to play with those two guys right at the very beginning of my career.
Oh,
Great, great gentlemen.
boy,
Really cool.
that golf swing Gene Littler had too. What a fun guy to watch swing it.
Oh, effortless. Just absolutely beautiful. Yeah, it was gosh, when I look back, and you're so right because when we're about the same age, and when I started playing on tour, I got to play with Jack. I got to play with Tom Watson. I got to play with not even a middle-aged Seve Ballesteros. Sandy Lyle was a great player. Greg Norman was a great player. And then you see that thing, the torch kind of get handed off to Tiger, and getting to play with Tiger was a thrill. I mean, he was the first guy. I have to say this, Hack. Tiger was the first guy that could do things with the ball that I couldn't do in terms of power and
Wow.
speed and distance. Where it was, there were guys that were longer than me, but not very. You're talking about a yard or two, or maybe five. Tiger was just sick. When he hit, I'll never forget this, Hack. We're out at Pebble Beach, and Pebble is the epitome of sea level. You got the Pacific Ocean right there. He's playing the 18th hole. He's got 272 yards to the flag, and you played there a bunch. That's an intimidating second shot when you're going for that green. You got to hang that thing out over the Pacific Ocean, and you got to really be on top of your game. He takes a 2-iron and hits it like this. I mean, I'm like, and that ball lands on the back of the green flat. And I'm like, Jim, I couldn't have teed up a driver. I would have had to tee up a driver to hit it there. I was like, oh my
Wow.
gosh, just incredible.
But back in the day, you hit it far.
I
The
did.
name that always comes to my mind when I think of the mid to late 80s is Dan Pole. Did you ever play with
Yeah,
him?
Polecat.
Yeah.
Played with him a lot. He had a very short backswing, Jimmy. He only went to about here, but he was a great athlete, had great hand-eye coordination, and turned really fast. He would crush it. He
Wow.
would absolutely smash it. Yeah, a lot of fun.
You've seen it all. That's great. You know what? All these experiences and the competition, the people you met that led to all the stories for your book, which again keep me so intrigued. And actually, I kind of want to pick your brain on a story that was in there. But before I get into that story, I wore this outfit for you. This is an Arius I found on eBay. Remember,
What is going on over at your house, man? That is crazy.
these aren't Sansa belts though. I need to
Hey,
find some Sansa belts.
you remember when, for whatever reason, Tabasco was advertising on the tour and all the guys, and I was like, you guys, you're wearing a shirt that's got a bottle of Tabasco sauce on it. And they were like, what's the big deal? I'm like, oh, so style and golf never were something that
Never the same.
everybody mentioned hand in hand, man.
Oh,
That is amazing. You got an Aureus shirt. I can remember when Aureus first came out
yep.
and everybody was wearing them.
Was it before Larry Mize won when it got popular, or was that about the time where it really hit?
About the time, but it had come out a little before that, but he really helped that brand a ton.
Oh yeah, that chip in was incredible, and
Oh,
I looked for that particular shirt but could not find it. That's the one I really wanted on eBay, but no luck.
I
So
can't believe you found that.
eBay's
That's awesome.
got some pretty fun stuff. So in your book, this is what I mean. So much of it intrigued me, and there's tons of things I want to talk about. But what I think about is I grew up in Grand Forks, North Dakota, and based on your and I's conversations, where you grew up, it's outside of St. Louis. It's not in the big heart of the city. You're kind of
Right.
countryside,
Yeah.
and it's probably similar to me. You then got a full ride scholarship to UCLA, which at the time was the powerhouse and an amazing place. But the thing that got me the most, that blew my mind, that created a little bit of envy, but a positive envy, like a good one, was when I learned of your living arrangements at Bel Air Country Club. Tell me a little bit about that. And you didn't even know it until you got there.
So, Jim, my parents, this is how times have changed. Again, fourth of five kids. My parents hugged me at the curb of Lambert St. Louis Airport and sent me out. I don't know one person in Los Angeles. They've never met anyone. I don't know who's picking me up, right? But they send me, I got a suitcase that's about this big, Hack. I got two pair of shoes. One of them's golf, and I got my golf clubs. That's it. I go to LAX. LAX is an awful airport. It's scary. Nobody speaks English, and I get my stuff off the carousel, and heck, I'm waiting for somebody I don't know to come pick me up. We have no internet, no cell phones, nothing,
Oh,
nothing.
that's
So
so
I'm
incredible.
standing there. Some guy says, "Are you Jay Delsing?" I'm like, "Yeah." I can't gonna kidnap me and take me to Tijuana. We don't know. So I said, I'm so green and so trusting. I said, sure, yes. And he goes, come on, I'm your ride. I'm going to take you. I'm going to take you to your home where you're going to live. And I'm like, that's great. I'm fully expecting I'm going to be in the dorms with all the other guys. And heck, probably 18, 20 minutes from the LAX, he pulls down this long stone driveway. And I'm not thinking we're going to a home. I'm thinking we're on our way somewhere. I don't know. I've been to LA on a recruit trip and that was it. And all of a sudden he stops in front of this house. And I mean, my eyes are this big. The house that I grew up in, Hack, was a 3 bedroom, 1,000 square foot house, one bathroom. I had three older sisters. I had a mom that had more clothes. And if she had any more clothes, they'd had to get rid, they'd had to drop a kid because, and that's just the way we lived.
Wow.
Now, I get out of the car and I'm like, there's got to be some sort of mistake. He walks over, hands me the keys, says, the lady of the house, her name is Mrs. McCulloch, Barbara McCulloch, is not home. She's on vacation. And I got a list of some instructions. And I said, where are we? And he goes, you're on the ninth tee at Bel Air Country Club. This is Lana Turner. So hold on. I had no idea who Lana Turner was, never heard of her, and you can't go to the Google machine and go look it up, So then I find out that she's some Hollywood actress. And I said to him specifically, sir, are you sure this is where I'm supposed to be? And he said, 100% positive, sure. And I was like, wow. So I go in the house. There's three dogs in there. I have a dog lover. Part of the instructions were making sure the dogs were fed. I'm like, no problem at all. Go up to my room. Heck, it's as big as the entire, ground level floor of the house that I grew up in. I got a walk-in closet. I got my own bathroom, my own shower in there. And I'm like, where am I? So, and it turns out that it's right on the golf course. So heck, I would almost every night on the weekends, because we couldn't play weekend golf in LA because it was too busy. I would wait till about, you know, hour and a half before dusk, throw my clubs on my shoulder, walk out the gate right across the fairway, and I'd play half a number one all the way up to number eight and come in. I did 15 balls off the tees, hitting
Oh,
chippy bugger shots. I was in
dream.
heaven, heaven. And to this day, heck, the Bel Air Country Club is in my top five golf courses of all time. Have you played it?
I played it 3 times, and I'm
Isn't
actually
it amazing?
love it. My good buddy Tommy Gardner is the director of golf there now. He was at LA Country Club, but he started
Yep.
at Bel Air prior. And Tommy's the greatest. We worked together for 5 years on Martha's Vineyard way back when Tommy
Yeah.
he was mowing greens, raking bunkers, taking care of the course as a 21-year-old, and lo and behold, now he's the director of golf at Bel Air Country Club. It's pretty
Wow. I
good.
mean, wow. And so Bel Air, I mean, to break this down for our listeners, it's got, let's see, one, two, I think there's five tunnels on the course, Hack.
Yes.
It's got a massive suspension swinging bridge that you walk over from the 10th tee to the 10th green. It's a 240-yard par three. It also sits right on top of the 18th green. And there's the golf course is a series of canyons, a bunch of bluffs with the holes down in the bottom and these massive homes all over the place. Where on hole number four was where they used to film the Tarzan movies.
Oh yeah.
Barry Hilton had that huge property over there. My head was on a swivel when I was over there. I'm like, who is this? What's this happening? It was just incredible.
Yeah, what a great experience. I mean, just to be, basically plucked off the farm and now you're downtown LA and just experience.
Oh, 100%. We were the hillbilly section of North County, St. Louis. 100% hack. This was,
Wow.
again, that's why the book was written. It's because what are you doing here? Like
Yeah.
you're a hayseed from the Midwest, and now I'm out, in the middle of Hollywood going, wow, so
There's a song by the Talking Heads that's called "How Did I Get Here," and it's
yeah,
kind of like that.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I know it well. So it's just kind of one of those things where, you know, before, and you could probably relate to this, Hack, when you don't have a lot of exposure to stuff, your level of awareness is really low, and so I mean, I knew the golf course we were playing had no bunkers, it was dumpy. I knew it was, but I didn't know how bad it was until then you get out and see some of these other places and you're like, oh my gosh, the place I'm playing is it's a real dump. I mean, it's really not good. But again, I go back there and play it even after I caddied on a beautiful course because it's all we had,
Yep.
and
Well,
it
I
was
think
it
that
was
became
enough.
I mean, if you and I had been rich country club kids, spoiled our whole lives, we'd probably just be wouldn't give a shit about it, because it
Nope,
didn't
nope.
push us.
Plus the other thing, heck, you know this. Because not only golf, but life punches you in the nose or below the belt sometimes, and you've got to get yourself back off the mat
Yeah,
for everyone. I don't care how much money you have, how many championships you've won, what your trophy case looks like, what your bank account looks like. There are challenges and it's hard. And the way that we grew up, Hack, we took those right in step
yeah,
because that was just part of life.
yep.
It was
That's
almost like we expected it.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, I loved it. I loved every part of it. I mean, even the subtle things about you going to meet Whitey Ford with your dad at a party that was in St. Louis. I mean, and your dad just nonchalantly, hey, and you just like,
Oh
holy,
yeah. Those guys didn't think anything of. I mean, I remember I was playing in Gerald Ford's tournament up in Vail, and I could tell that somebody was kind of watching me. And it's kind of like a week off, Hack, and it was a really great tournament, but it wasn't like a PGA Tour event. And so, we had a couple of drinks the night before and the whole thing, and I'm just loosening up. I turn around, Yogi Berra and Whitey Ford are standing 5, 8, 10 feet behind me, watching me warm up, and I said, hey, and heck, we're talking about little. I'm 6'5". These guys are tiny little guys, 5'7", 5'6". And I said, guys, what's going on? How you doing? Where are your clubs? You want to hit some balls? I'm like, oh my gosh, we're so sorry. We didn't mean to disturb you while you're practicing. I'm thinking, practicing? I'm winging balls all over the place, man. I was, and they said it was just so thrilling. We're sorry for interrupting you. We just wanted to say hi and see how Jim and Roseanne are. That's my mom and dad. And I
wow,
was like,
how great
damn,
is that?
two Hall of Famers coming to say hi. I mean, just couldn't be better.
Wow,
Yeah. I
that's
mean, that's just shouldn't have happened.
yeah.
You know what I mean? How does that happen?
Hey, you spent 20 plus years out on the PGA Tour, traveling, playing everywhere. Obviously, and you probably had a long term caddy, but I just had an interview with a caddy, and we talked about a couple of things. And I asked him, what's the most important thing that this caddy could tell the world that's helpful in this situation? What
Yeah.
he said was, he goes, if you're the player, treat your caddy well. If you communicate and treat your caddy well, he'll do it. He or she will do anything for you. But if you're abusive to them, it's going to cause a rift in the relationship. How would you speak about that situation? Because you've
I've,
seen it
I've
all.
100%, heck, I would agree with them. I've seen it all. I've seen certain players blame every single thing that goes wrong, from the wind starting to blow in his backswing to the sun shining too brightly on the caddies, and it's just remarkable. Some of those conversations they would snap your head around. I first of all, I wasn't raised to treat anyone like that.
Yep.
Wasn't. I don't care if he's a caddy or not. I was a caddy for Pete's sake.
Yep.
I'm certainly not going to throw down on someone because they're a caddy and something lesser than I am. Second of all, my most important thing for the caddy was knowing the player, because there are certain times, Hack, where you absolutely need to speak up, and certain times, Hack, where you need to shut up.
Yep.
Sometimes, Hack, you know this because you're a damn good player too. Sometimes, Hack, nothing needs to be said. The game is cruel. The bounces don't go your way. You got to pack. My dad would say, put your tools in your bag and throw them in the trunk and have a look for a better day tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because we've all had that act where some days you're like, man, I could have played left-handed and hit better shots, and I could have, you know, gone blindfolded and made more putts. And sometimes it just happens like that. But what I love about the modern caddy idea, Hack, is they're talking about a team.
Yes.
They're talking, and I like that idea from the way that I grew up. The team concept resonated with me, and so it was. I that's the way I approached it. I treated my caddies extremely well. One of the things why I didn't stick with a caddy more than 3 or 4 years at a time is because we got too close, and most of them stopped working hard. And I know that's a bad stereotypical thing, but it's really true.
Yep.
Where we and the other thing that was important for me, Hack, was how do you keep that relationship fresh?
Yep.
Because there's going to be pressure, and you need to be on. And if that caddy starts second guessing himself or doesn't come to me with information that gives me confidence in
Yep.
that information, then this team's going to sink.
Yep.
And so that's what I so I would go over to my caddies and say, this is how we're going to do this, and we'd actually do practice rounds practicing for that. We'll set the bag here. I like to carry a book because it kept me engaged. He'd do the yardage. We would double check it. We talk about this. And then there'd be sometimes, Hack, where I wouldn't say a word. He sets the bag down. I got to put on my glove. I know exactly what I'm going to do. I'll pull out a 7-iron. Boom, I'm going to hit this little low draw over. He can't play as well as I can. I don't need more. If I see the shot and want to hit it, he needs to just shut up and get out of the way.
Yep.
And I'm not saying it always went well, but that's when I did not struggle. The hard part is when there's indecision.
Yep.
We One of the things that we did, Hack, that helped me so much because you just can't, because of your life in golf. But for most folks, you just can't appreciate traveling to different parts of the country and different parts of the world, different grasses, different sand, different everything, and trying to figure out all of these different variables. And one of the things that used to drive me crazy because we'd play in all these tree-lined places, Hack, was the wind because it would swirl.
Yeah.
And it would swirl. And so what we did that helped immensely, and maybe this will help somebody listening, is that at the start of the day, we got the wind direction. Unless there was some sort of major storm or some sort of act of God, Hack, we stayed with that. I don't care if the wind's blowing straight in my face. We know it's blowing down. We're playing it to blow down. And 9 times out of 10, that was money for us.
Yep.
So that was part of, kind of learning together out there.
Because in those yardage books, you've got a compass on the top of each page. So
100%.
you've already determined your wind direction and you stay with it. Even though if it's swirling, it's not worthy of when it gets above the trees.
100%. And that's the tricky part, right? Because you might be in a valley hitting out, or you might be, hitting around a dog leg and you're feeling all this wind that might be blowing in through the canyons or in through the fairways. But that's not the predominant way it's going once you get your ball, up in the air.
Yep. So with caddying, so I caddied for 3 years on tour, and that's what gave me the idea for the Orange Whip and seeing this rhythm and this balance. Yeah. But I learned a lot about the game of golf, how to play it, and the interaction with the players as well, watching that. And because of the caddy experience 20 to 25 years ago, I got to know a lot of the guys. Well, the last couple of years I've caddied for a good buddy of mine, Burke Nelson, who works for Orange Whip, but we were college.
Really nice player.
Oh, very, very good. Well, when I go to these events, after getting to know you, I started to introduce myself. I knew some of the caddies, so I'd say hey to the players. I go, hey, I'm buddies with Jay Delsing. And then I'll go, I love me some Jay Delsing. So they're all supportive. So you've got a great fan friendship base on all the tours. But again, leading to these stories is these good experiences that you've had out there. But let me switch the direction of that thought, because you're vetted out as a star and a positive, popular guy. But in the book, I won't mention the name, but you had an interaction. I think it was up in Canada, maybe at Glen Abbey. And
I'll mention the name. No, you're good. You're good. Yeah.
So that was you're out there competing and playing, and if somebody crosses a line, which I believe he did big time, you don't stand for that. You had to stand up for yourself and take care of the situation.
Heck, the gentleman was Scott Hoke, and I was playing and I got paired with Neil Lancaster and Scott Hoke the first 2 days of the Canadian Open at Glen Abbey. Now you have to remember, the Canadian Open was like the 5th major back then. It was the only tournament on the schedule that the great Jack Nicklaus had never won. And so Jack was always playing up there. And we were playing at a Jack Nicklaus design at Glen Abbey. And Neil and Scott didn't have a great first days, but something really weird happened the first day. On the 9th hole, it's one of the more difficult holes at Glen Abbey. Back in the day, again, it's probably 460 yards long. That's a driver and a wedge for the players today, but it was a long hole. Water guarded the front and the right of this green, and it sat out there. And Neil and I were both long off the team. We hit our drives through the fairway. There was a tiny bit right, and Scott had hit his drive to the left. Now, heck, we're walking up to these balls, and there's two balls in the rough, and you see the two flags from the marshals, and we can see one ball sitting bright and shiny, and the other ball is nowhere to be seen. And I'm thinking to myself, I wonder which one of these balls is the Delsing balls, So sure enough, we get up there. Neil's ball's sitting nice and clean, and mine's buried in the rough, buried in the rough. And so I said, Neil, I'm just going to identify this ball, make sure it's mine. He said, yeah, no problems. He's standing right next to me. I look at the ball, put it back down. That's mine. I take my 58-degree wedge and chip it out straight sideways back into the fairway. Neil got the good lie, hits it right on the green. He makes par. I make a bogey, and we move on. So we hit off the 10th tee. And when you're playing a tour, and you can relate to this because you've been so involved with tournament golf, something gets amiss in the group, and it's real easy to tell. There's a weird vibe, something's wrong. And I looked and I saw Scott Hoke saying something to Neil, and I'm like, what's going on? And Neil says, Scott thinks you cheated on the last hole. And I'm thinking, my first thought is, oh gosh, what did I do wrong? Because we can all break a rule. What did I do wrong? And he says, he thinks you teed your ball up in the rough when you were identifying your ball. And I said, Neil, I chipped it out straight sideways, 15. What are you talking about? He goes, I told him he's crazy. I was standing right next to you when you identified the ball. He's crazy. And I went, I don't care. That's insane, right? That's so stupid. That's insane. So we get through the day. I have a good round. The other two guys, not so much. We go out the next morning. Neil plays 3 holes and retires. He quits. Had enough, missing a cut on a plane. He's going home. So it's just Scott and I. And I'm playing really well. Scott is not. So Scott's going to miss the cut. Heck, we drive it on 18. Now remember the shot that Tiger hit from the right fairway bunker to beat Grant Wade in 2002? Heck, I drove it in that same bunker, okay, off the tee. I think I'm 8 or 9 under for the tournament, first page of the leaderboard. Heck, before we get off the tee at 18 at Glen Abbey, deluge. It is not sprinkling. The heavens open up. Heck, by the time I get to the fairway, there's a river running down the center of it. And by the time I get to my ball, the horn blows, suspending play. Heck, you can't see 8 feet in front of you. It is raining as hard as I've ever seen it. So now you know what this is like. You need to mark your ball when play is suspended. So you get in the bunker. My caddy gets the yardage. Now here's the tricky part of the bunker. Bunkers get damaged by the weather and the rain, so they often have to rake those bunkers. And if you just put a coin in there, that coin's gone. So you try to put some tees in the ground. And so we triangulated a couple, so we knew exactly where this ball was. I picked the ball up, put it in my pocket, and from the other side of the fairway, Scott Howe comes running at me and he says, oh my God, I can't believe you're cheating again.
God.
Oh man. Heck, I lost it.
Oh,
I ran right towards him. I grab him. Now we're under one umbrella, and I am right. I've got a really long fuse. I consider myself a mild-mannered guy. This is the only thing you cannot be on the PGA Tour is a cheater. You cannot. Everybody breaks the rules and makes mistakes. This is different.
Yep.
This is not where, hey, Hack, we got to call you in and we got to show you. We think your ball might have moved while you're like, okay, well, I didn't see it. No, this is something entirely different.
Yeah.
Now, here's the scene. I'm standing out here. I got him by the scruff of the neck. I'm under the umbrella. My caddy's here. His caddy's here. All we have left is about a 12-year-old scorer. She's carrying the stanchion, and about a 75-year-old woman who's our scorekeeper. And I look at her and I said, ma'am, I need you to call an official right away. And she is looking at me like a deer in headlights. I said, please. And so she does. Now, heck, we're in Toronto. So the PGA Tour and the CPGA, the Canadian PGA, split duties. If it's a PGA Tour official comes up, I'm going to know him.
Yeah.
That's not what happened. A Canadian PGA Tour official comes driving up. Now, heck, the golf course is empty. It's pouring down rain. 2 guys under an umbrella, and if you get close, you know this is not good.
Yeah.
So this gentleman comes up, no idea who he is. And I said, sir, can you please tell this? And then I had a long line of expletives that I am well within my rights under in the rules of golf to mark my ball
Yep.
through the green under weather suspension. And he looks at me and goes, of course you are.
Yeah. That's
And I said, thank you. And he looks at me and I said, thank you. And he's just staring at me. I go, sir, you got to go. And he's like, boom, he just peels out of there. Hack, I still didn't know if I should just beat the hell out of it. I was at a 12. I was so upset. And I said, how in the hell? And he's like, well, I didn't know the rule. I'm like,
yeah.
why would you say anything? And then that was another. So I said what I said, and then I just kind of shoved him. And then we walked in. I let my caddy go. I was bubbling over. And heck, I go in to the clubhouse and I need to cool down. I just go in the corner. I grab a drink and I'm just sitting there. And I get this tap on my shoulder. And I look up. It's Scott Hoke's dad. And he said to me, he said, tried to tell him he needs to keep his damn mouth shut, especially when he doesn't know. And his dad goes, I'm really sorry that happened to you. And I was like, huh. I didn't say it was okay. I didn't say, I just went, huh. And he just walked away. And it
Wow.
was the weirdest, man. I
Yeah.
was,
That's too
I
bad.
was on go hack. It was crazy.
Yeah, your level of positive experiences out there has been tremendous, and then to have that. But you know what? It's a funny read, though. And again, check it out, everyone. This is a great
Thank
book.
you.
And then also check out his show on the weekends on ESPN Radio, Golf with Jay Delsing. It's a fun show. I just listened to your Kevin Kisner one the other day.
Oh, thank you.
It's
We
great.
drop them all as podcasts too on Apple and Spotify, jdelsinggolf.com, scoopswithdannymac.com. Anywhere you get your pods, you can find it. We get great guests, heck. We have been so
Oh yeah.
lucky. Go back and listen to my interview with Barbara Nicholas, man. You're going to come out thinking this lady is a cross between a rock star and Mother Teresa. She sent me a christening gift for all four births of my daughters. Me. I mean, insane, insane.
Well, thank you, Jay. I think this is going to cut me out here pretty quick, but